Welcome to JavaScript Learning 2. So today we will talk about JavaScript, like adding your file to your web page, and also how to use a console tab, like developer tool when we debugging or fixing the error, and also writing a code without a variable, and also what is a variable, and so we will use a lowercase, camel case, that will be common use cases, and also there's a different way to declare it. So that will be var, let, and const to declare a variable. And also what are the basic standard data types in JavaScript. So these we will talk about it. And also at last, I think once we get it all, we will make it a little bit a one statement or expression that will be so the basic syntax, and also handling the white space, same as a CSS. So that will be, we will talk about it to the topics guide. So I think I will so the tool setup. So to get started, so basic, so like you see on my screen, so I will need one browser. So that will be any browser, so Firefox, Chrome, and Windows Explorer, anything. So any browser that you can use it. To me, I'm using the Chrome, and also I will download the Visual Studio Code, and then if you want to follow along, you can use a Visual Studio Code a file extension. So that will be live server. Go to this icon and then you click it and then search for live server, and then so install the live server. So that will be much better. If you are loading your file like an index.html or web page, you can just simply go live, and then you can see some changes automatically without refreshing your browser. So that will be basic a setup, and then the tools that you need: Visual Studio Code and a web browser. And then to get started in Visual Studio Code, I need to open a folder. Like I said, to automatically show your update on your browser, we need to set up. So that will be opening a folder, not a file. So make sure that you open a folder, locate your folder. So I think I have a folder, so that will be my folder location. I will simply copy it, and then I'm going to paste it here. Select the folder and open your a Visual Studio Code. And then for now, we have nothing. I only have one slide, so that will be this slide image folder. And then I'm going to create one index.html. So right click, so you have to right click over here, and then right click on this tab, and then new file, and then give it an index.html. So that will be HTML, and then create a file, and then simply press shift and exclamation on your keyboard, so just tap it and then press the tab key. That will be basic an HTML code. I will change document to be a JavaScript, and also what if we give it learning, and then inside the body tag, I think I will give it a header. So that will be a little semantic header, and then div, and then h1. So that will be JavaScript, and then learning, and then I will give it a 02. So once you get the basic HTML file, and then all the way to the bottom, so in a Visual Studio Code, make sure you open a folder and then set up the HTML, and then at the bottom we have this go live. So if I click on the go live, so if you're using the Chrome as a default browser, that will open in your on the web page, that will be JavaScript Learning 2. If you're using Firefox, so that will be open in Firefox. So that's how we can use Visual Studio Code and live server to update our so the changes in our code. All right, so guys, so set it up once you get it, and then now so the next topic, so that will be so adding your JavaScript file to your page. Today we're learning the JavaScript. It's not HTML. We talk about it, all these in your HTML tutorial, so you can go back to YouTube channel and watch it again. And then, okay, now it's the same thing. So to link your JavaScript file, I will simply create a new JavaScript file. So that will be JS-L- and then 02, and then make sure that you give an extension that will be .js. And then if I save it, now JavaScript file is loaded, and then what if we just write simple code? So that will be changing the background color for our web page, So that will be document. So whenever we say a document, that's referring to the HTML files, document dot, and then body dot, and then style dot background. So that will be background color here. And then if I give it color to be, what if we just say yellow, for instance. If I save the file, now your code is done. So like I said, we need to link the file the same as a CSS. So in HTML, I mean, like, we can edit like two ways to add our JavaScript file. I mean, that will be adding your file in JavaScript. So that will be one way, will be like adding all the way at the bottom. So that will be like using the script tag. So that will be script. So script tag here, and then locate your file. So source src, and then getting attribute, and then js dash. So that will be your file. So adding the script tag, and then next to the closing body tag, all the way at the bottom. So once you save it, then you want to see like updating your script file, and then it's affecting. So now you see the yellow. If I change it to the red, and then if I change it to the blue, so that will be all the changes you're going to see. So that's one way to edit. What if I edit like another way all the way to the top? I mean, if you remember, we have HTML talk about it, head element. So you can do that. So if you cut it all the way to the top, and then put it inside the head element or head tag, so that will be pasted in here. If I save it, it's the same thing, adding the script file, but now we are not seeing the changes. I mean, like if I give blue, actually should be blue, will be pop-ups, but now we are getting the error. So whenever you see like an error or you doubt that your script is not running correctly, so that's another topic that we can use a console tab or developer tool to debug it. So I will just simply like go to your browser, right click, and then like locate this inspect at the bottom. So that will be inspect. Once you do that, developer tool will pop up, and then go to your console tab. So these are all related to your JavaScript error and fixing your bugs. So that will be, I mean, like, so uncaught type error. So the reason is like, I mean, like, so in like, I mean, rendering your code in web browser, you know, so that's what we call it, so like a cascading. If you remember, like a CSS, the rendering will start all the way from the top, and then like that will be rendering to the bottom. So for instance, like document HTML will be first, and then head element, and then once it hits to the like I mean, like JavaScript tag, it will look for the JavaScript file, and then we say like a body to be changed to background color blue. But when we say body, it's, I mean, like, so the rendering, the browser, it haven't seen the body or any like I mean, like, so HTML element. So that's why script is giving us the error. I mean, if I put it like a script tag at the bottom, so you won't see the error. If I put it at the bottom, so you will see the body changes. So like I said, I mean, like rendering will be always from the top to bottom, and then now the only to fix, I mean, so the like I mean, the error is like only adding the attribute. So that will be define, I mean, define attribute in your script tag. So if I save it now, you're saying that JavaScript file, hey, render everything in your document, and then look for any element all the way to the bottom, finish it, and then come back to the script tag, and then write my like a script to render. So that's how define is working. And then now everything is what we wanted. There will be no error if I change to the yellow. So if I save it, now the define is helping. If you want to edit at the top, make sure that you add the define attribute, and if not, I mean, like, so we have to cut it off, and then we can put it at the bottom, and then simply you can remove it. Now you can remove the define at the bottom, and then just edit script tag. And also this is like a common use case. I mean, like, so all the developers are adding the script tag, but sometimes you will see at the top, make sure that you add a define. So that's how we will load the JavaScript file guide. All right, okay, so that will be yellow, or what if we change it like a blue, so we can save it here. So even if we put it like a red, so that's how we will link our script file to our index.html. All right, so the next will be like debugging, like using your console tab. I mean, like, so like I said, I mean, like in your browser, you know, you can right click, go to inspect, and then go to your console tab here next to the element. And then let's say the console tab is a very useful. Let's say I want it like a 5 time. I mean, like 0, 5, 5, 8, 7, 6, 9. You don't know what is the answer. You don't have to use a calculator. I mean, like in the console tab, you can simply like I mean, look for it. And also, let's say I want to see like a type of like what is like I mean, we will have like a basic like a data type. Later we will talk about it. I want to see, for instance, you know, I want to see like a type of like a 0. So that will be the number, and then type of, let's say, some string. I mean, like, so that will be, let's say, hi, so that will be string. So that's a console tab that you can easily look for it and then like a reference about it and then quickly come back, see the error, fix the bugs and everything. That's how we can use a console tab. All right. So, and then also variable. I mean, so in JavaScript, without a variable, I mean, like we are writing a code, like a tons and tons of code. I mean, without a variable, it would be very painful. For instance, let's say now body dot style dot background element, that will be red. So we don't have a variable right now, but you thought of it, we can do the code. I mean, so the basic like a code runs, you know. But what if I change it like a background color to be yellow again? So I have to write it again. So document later at the body, and then dot, and then style dot background color, or maybe I mean for instance, you know, background color, I want it yellow, or I want it like any other value. So that will be, if I make changes, so that will be painful to write all the long text in our JavaScript. So that's why like declaring a variable is very useful. So now what we're gonna do is I have this like a variable, like a declaration using var, let, or const. So I can use it like 3 different ways. So what if we do that like with the const for now? So that will be const, and then I will give one variable that will be color, and also I will do the same thing. So document dot, and then get element by ID, and then I will get the ID that will be color. For now, I mean, like, we don't have any ID in our document, so that will be, go back to your index.html, give a ID name, so that will be ID, and then I will give it like a color. So if I save it, that will be the same that I am adding my a variable in my script, and also I can do that. So now start changing the color, so that will be, I can simply call my variable dot, and then style, so that will be style dot background color, and then I can simply start changing it, color, and so that will be, background will be, let's say, what if we say the blue, I can change it. So that will be, using the variable is very useful, and also we're writing the code longs, and then that will be much more easier. All right, so now next step to the so what is a variable naming and common use cases? So that will be giving and naming and constructing your variable. Like I said, to declare a variable, we have we comment it out. So, and also we have if you remember HTML, we have commenting. In CSS, we have comment. So in JavaScript also, if you want to comment it something, you can just do it with the double slash, you know. So that will be commenting everything. So if I do the double slash, so we have var, we have let, so that will be, we have const. Actually, all will be like a lowercase, so that will be var and let and const. So let's say I am constructing like a variable. Let's say I have I will use a const for now, you know, so constant, and then what if we gave it like a name, that will be name, and then so any name, so that will be T, and then A. So now you see that you thought of like a name. For now, it's a very easy. I mean, like, what if like a first name? So first and name. So now in JavaScript, I mean, giving or naming variable is so important. If you name it we're using the a dash or using the underscore, so that will be not the common use case. You can do that, you know, so you can put it the name, let's say a dash name, then I can put it equal to any name I want it. But now you start seeing that there will be a dash, is something that giving us the error. In the JavaScript, even so there will be error. So if I say it A, so that will be T. If I put it, save it, and then go back to your console log, and then you're gonna see if I clean it out, so it will be save the file and then reload it. So you're gonna see a little bit error that a declaration using the first name dash name is some kind of in JavaScript. Whenever we see this dash, so it's sort of so JavaScript is a programming language that it's used mathematics, and then it's all addition, subtraction, and then multiplication. All these are confusing to the code. So that's why a basic setup for your naming I mean, it's very important. Instead of using the dash, confusing with the minus, with the subtraction, you know. So, or you thought of it, what if we use an underscore? And then you can do that. I mean, like if I use an underscore, and then I will go back to your console tab, so there will be no error. I mean, like we can do it that way too. But like I said, I mean, like so, like a basic convention, like giving your naming and all the developers doing. So common use cases will be, I mean, like, so always start with the lowercase. Let's say for name, I give it lowercase, and then I want it first name. So there will be first will be lowercase and name will be like a start with a capital N. So that's how we call it like a camel case, you know. You have to give a camel case and then lowercase. So that will be how like a basic common use case is. So let's say you have 2, 3 like individual words. So let's say like for instance like a cons and then like a family first name. So if I put it like a family and then like a first, so like a I mean, like, so whenever there's an individual word that like there's a meaning. So family is a meaningful word, and also first is a meaningful word too. I mean, if you say first, there's like a meaning. So that's why if I say the next first will be like capital letter. So first first will be capital, and also first and then name is an individual word. There's a meaning too. That's why I give it start with the capital N. So that's a camel case. You will always, if there's only one word, and then you will use a lowercase. There's 2 words, and then we could use like sorry, not first, you know. So that's spelling wrong. So that will be first first name. And then if there's like 2, 3 words, I mean, so always start with the lowercase and then camel case. That will be capital F, and then the next word will be capital. So that's what we call it like a camel case. And then you can give it like a family first name will be another T, or like will be like a. So that's how like we can like naming like conventions or whatever, you know. So you call it. So that will be constructing or naming your variable. So lowercase, if there's 2, 3 words, and then we will use a camel case. So that will be start with the lower F, that will be capital F, and then the next one will be capital N. So that's how we will use it. So that will be naming and then constructing your variable. And also like we talk about like a var, let, and const. I mean, in JavaScript, you can use any like like a declaration method. So for instance, I can use var. So that will be like when the JavaScript is invented. So that will be var is the only way to declare a variable. So I can put it like my name to be like that will be using a var and then name. So that will be T, and then I can do that. And also let, I can do that, I think. So first name, and then I can use this name as a T, and then I can put it that way too. Or maybe I can put it like a const. I can do that. So that will be our family name. We talk about it. So that will be like A. I can do that too. So that will be how you can use a var, let, and const. So the next step is we have to talk about it. Okay, what's the difference? I mean, we have 3 options that we can use it: var, let, and const. I mean, so that will be like I think I will like move to the next topic, you know. So we will talk about it like what's different, and then what's which one is better to use it. So I will talk about it later. But for now, keep in mind naming. That will be camel case. Lowercase will be only 1 word. There's 2, 3 words, camel case, and also we can use var, let, or const in our like a variable declaration. So that's how we can use it. Let me delete this one, and then so that's how we're gonna use it. And also, if I go back to my console tab, so whenever you write a code, you want to double check it, is there any error or not. Let's say if I remove it, let's say from for instance, you know, if I put a space, if I save it, go back to your console tab, you will see the error. So that's how you can check. So any spelling error, syntax error. All right. So the next topic, so that will be standard data types. So let me bring up my internet reference, you know. So that will be Mozilla developer. So that will be, you can Google it, you know. So in Mozilla, so that's a JavaScript topic that we can reference. So I'm going to do the little bit reference here, and also a Google Learn. So that will be in HTML CSS. So that's a Google Learn I've been referencing. So that's on the Google, you can search it. So that will be like on the internet. I mean, free to like reference, you know. So all right, so that will be like a data type that we have in JavaScript. So that will be one data type will be Boolean. So if I like, I go back to your console. I mean, what is a Boolean? So if I type it like a Boolean, if I type it just like that, and then so Boolean is something that true or false. If you, go to your Mozilla reference, you know, so that will be like, a Boolean will be true and false. If, sometimes like if we are writing like a big long like a concept or like, so like checking everything, we want to use like a true or false. So the time count, we will have this data type called Boolean. Let's say if I do that like in my code, so for instance, you know, so let's say if I construct like, let's say var, for instance, let's say like, so if like, so if I say like a true, so that will be, or even if I say like a Boolean, so that will be, if I say Boolean, and then if I type it like under the if statement, so I want to console log. So whenever we say console log, it will be output to your console tab. So that will be, I want to output it like, what if I just put hi? So if I save it and then go back to your console tab, now you can see that hi will be output. So that's something that Boolean, so if I put it like a Boolean, so if I put it like a 0 is in the Boolean values, that will be false. If I put it like a 0 and then I want to output console log, if I save it, so go to console tab, so it will output nothing. Because if I say like a Boolean, like if I type it here, like I put it like a 0, that will be false. So whenever do the if statement, so that will be always look for the true. But for now, 0 is false. That's why it is not outputting. So if I change it to any number, let's say 8, 5, 85, whatever, you know, so that will be if I save it. So that's not 0, then it will output to my hi, and then you can see that. So start seeing the like outputting. So that's how the Boolean works. You want to like check it like what is the true or false, and then no. So no will be something that nothing exists. Like if I put it, sometimes we have a long line of code. I can remember, let's say if I copy it like a code, you know, so for instance I paste it and then paste it and then all the way bottom, I can remember, did I declare name with the value or not? So I can simply check it with the no. Let's say, okay, I forgot, so is there like a var and then name, I forgot, did I give any value to it? So it's simply, you can check it like if, and then name, and then that will be equal, and then no. So now you're checking that, okay, so there's any value to like a name or not, because I don't want to check it long line of code, so I can remember. That's a no that you can come and like simply do the condition and then like check it for your like a value that like you have given or not. So that's how we can use the no. And also another thing, no will be something that not is it. And also guys, in the Mozilla, you can just click on the no tab too. So that will be what is a no. You can read through, and also like Boolean is the same thing. If you click it, there will be Boolean that you can read through. That's it's up to you guys. So, and also another thing will be undefined. So let's say if I delete my code back, so that will be all the way here. So undefined is something that like we declared it. Let's say I put it like a variable name Tay. If I delete it like a value from here, so if I delete it, so let me delete everything. And then I put a name like a variable, and then I give no value to it. So if I put it just like that, I give just a var name, there's no value. So there's like a variable name, but there's no value. If I do that way, if I go back to your like a console tab and then I output it. So if you want to output anything in your console tab, you can just console log. So that will be console dot, and then just type it log inside the parentheses, so that will be any variable you can output it. So if I put it name, and then if I output it, so that will be undefined. If I go back, so that will be, sorry, that will be name. Did I give it? So first name, and I think we need to save the file. If I save it, and then go back to your console tab, what we see. So let me do it again. So go back to JavaScript file. Alright guys, so that will be error. Now it's an error, so let me debug it. So var name, I think it's confusing in the JavaScript file. Should not be like given a name. So what if we just change it like my name, so that will be my, and so that will be name. So it's a little bit like confusing if I put in my name and then I'll put in my name, so that will be var, and then if I save it, go back to console tab. No, yeah, right. So sometimes there's a catch that like a JavaScript is like getting from a memory, so that's why we're not getting now. You see there's an undefined, so it's a sort of like a something, there's a no value to it, so that will be the undefined, and then you will not get any value. So that's how you can verify, and also in the Mozilla, so you can look for it. So click on the undefined, so there will be no value to it. So when the coding is rendering, so there's no value, that will be undefined. And then go back to another basic data type, so that will be the number. So number is a basic, so number will be we have 1, 2, 3, 0 to 9, any number. And also we have a number will be integer, that will be whole number, or floating, that will be decimal. So we just see here, so 42 will be whole number, whole integer, and also floating, so that will be with the decimal. So that's a number. If I went to let's say for instance, we declare one var, that will be our price. So if we put it a price will be, what if we say $5? So that will be that will be so the number here. So if I type it, let's say console log, and then if I type it a type of, if you want to see any data type of any value, let's say if I type it using the built-in method called type of, and then I want to type of a price. What is the data type of the price? That will be number, and then it will be output in the number. If I console log that way, if I save it, go back to your console tab, you can see that that's a number. And also I can simply check it here too. Just now I show you I can type it a type of, and then anything. So let's say instead of 0, but for the floating or a decimal, it will say it would not say a float or a decimal, It is in JavaScript, it would just say a number, because decimal is a number too. So that's why float with number. If I type it any name, so type of any name, so that will be inside in JavaScript, any name, so that will be inside the double quote, and then if I put it inside the parentheses, so that will be name will be string, so type of name will be, we will talk about later. So we're talking about a number, so that's how we can check it too, guys. So using the type of, and then anything that you can check it, what is the data type of the value. All right, okay, so that will be number. We have a whole integer, or we have a decimal or floating point. Or a big integer, big integer is something that very big number, you want it a million and millions of numbers that you want to count it banking or whatever. You have to use this big integer, the value that in your JavaScript coding. And also string is something that we will, use it all the time. So I think I would say in my web development, we will have a string, and then the a number will be a basic data type that we're gonna use it, So string will be all the name that inside the double quote will be string. So that will be first name here. I give it a tag. So inside the double quote, so that's a string. Family first name inside the double quote, that will be string. Even if you say the number, but if I put it inside the double quote, so if I'm 5 inside the double quote, that will be string. So if I save it, if I output it in my console tab, type of the price, it will not give me the number, it will give me the string. So if I output it, you see, there's a string. If I remove this thing, type of string. So that will be anything that inside the double quote, that will be a string in JavaScript. So that's one data type that we need to talk about it. So that will be, you can read through here in the Mozilla developer, a JavaScript learning. And also another thing, symbol. So symbols are something that a little bit advanced, it's beyond our topic. So that will be something you can declare it as a symbol. So you can use it later, and then you can check it. And also object. Object is sometime we will have API or whatever, so we will have one object declaration. You can see here, so the syntax, so object literal syntax, so you can do that. So that's how object is declaring here. You can see giving with the parent like a curly brace, I mean like using the braces, and also you give your name and then with like a colon. All these are objects. So objects, string, the number, and thing, we will talk about it later tutorial, guys. I mean it's now for time purpose, it's already like a little bit long. So that will be our back to my topics. That will be our data types. I mean like back to my JavaScript reference. So the basic data type that we need to remember, so that will be we have this a boolean checking the true and false, no, and all these a basic data type that we have. All right, okay, so the next will be the JavaScript syntax. I mean so now we know that what are the variable, how to declare it, and then complete syntax. I mean so in JavaScript, so everything's very sensitive. Just now I talk about even if you put it a dash, it's confusing. I mean it's a minus, it is a subtraction. If you put it asterisk, so that will be multiplication. So that's why JavaScript syntax is very sensitive. If you remove a semicolon, so that will be error. And also if you remove it equal, or if you put it a space, so all these will be in error. So that's how sensitive in JavaScript. I mean a complete syntax will be, let's say if you are writing a basic a syntax, so that will be always put the variable name and also start with the var, and then you have a complete syntax will be closing with the semicolon. Because I'm using the Visual Studio Code, whenever I save it, so it will automatically add all the semicolon anywhere that's needed. But if you forget, so along the line, so writing long code, and then if you missed it one semicolon, so that will be an error. So that's a problem in our, even if, let's say I'm writing an if statement, and then I forget opening, and then if I put it opening and closing, then if I delete it, let's say another let, and then call, that will be equal and then 0. If I save it now, if you go back to your JavaScript, now we will have an error. That's a syntax error that we are mixing. Now we have to declare it closing tag, and then if there's nothing inside, so that's why inside the parenthesis we have to edit something that will be complete a basic statement. So we have to do it, and also all the a curly brace. If I missed it one curly brace, if I save it, go back to the tab, that will be error. Mixing anything, so that will be all the error. These are a little bit sensitive for JavaScript. So you can't miss it, any spelling, any concept, or any a JavaScript basic rules. So let's say mixing inside a parenthesis without a condition, that will be error. And also mixing a curly brace, so that will be error. And also mixing a semicolon, that will be an error. So all these have to be complete, and then if I save it now, there will be no error. That's a complete a basic rule. And also you can always come to your console tab that you can double check it, guys. So that will be how a basic syntax. So statement will be anything that without the expression, so without the mathematics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, all this without the math. So that will be simple statement, will be that will be statement. Expression, let's say I want it what if we declare price equal to 5, and then I want it so that will be quantity. So if I put it quantity, so that will be, what if we say 10 quantity, and then I want it const, not a variable declaration, that will be total. So now that will be total. I want it to calculate it, so total will be now expression. So I want it a price time, so that will be it's not statement. Now we are doing the mathematics, so that's why we call it expression. That will be price time quantity, so that will be quantity. If I put it, and then now I'm going to console log, so anything you want to output it, so that will be console.log. And then if I say total, then I will see that 5 times 10 will be 50. If I save it, go to your console tab, that will be 50. That's it. So now, and another thing, we talk about it a web, and my file is loaded, I'm using a console tab outputting. So that's another thing, that output to your web page or outputting to your console tab. we have a different thing, so I'll put it. I mean, if you want to see your in your HTML, we have a different ways to do it. I mean, that will be like a later tutorials guide. For now, I mean, that's a JavaScript basic startup. I mean, we have to know all the basic statements. So to recap, I mean, we talk about it, how to add your file. So that will be index.html at the bottom next to the closing body tag, or at the top using the def file and in the script tag. And another like a console tab, I mean, that's how to use console tab. Any error, any like a syntax error, any mixing error, debugging, so that will be console tab. Easily locate your browser, right click and then inspect, so that will be your browser. And also we talk about it like a variable naming, so make sure that you're naming so properly, so that will be naming your so JavaScript, so start with the lowercase if you have a 2 words. If you have only 1 word, so that will be like a small letter, so or that will be lowercase, so that will be name. And also if you have 2 words with a meaning, so first is a meaningful, name is a meaningful, so that's why we have this lowercase and then uppercase, and then we mix it, that will be camel case. If we have 3 words, we have this like a lower and then capital, and then next word will be capital. That's how we will do the naming in JavaScript. And we talk about it so var, let, and const. So guys, for now, what's the difference will be next tutorial. So we have a var, you can use it. Let, you can do the variable declaration, and also you can use a const to declare to declare a variable in your JavaScript. Alright, so the next will be data type. We talk about it. What is the data type? Recap. We have a boolean, we have a null, we have an undefined. We talk about it. So if you're not giving a value, that will be undefined. Number, that will be big, a data type that we're gonna use it in our tutorial. Big integer, I think we might not use it. If you want to know, go to Mozilla Developer reference. And also string, so that's what we're using. If you put it inside the double quote, anything that put inside the double quote, that will be a string. And also symbol and object, so that will be a basic data type. So we have like a 7 or 8 data types in JavaScript. And also we talk about statements and expression, anything that doing the mathematics, so that will be addition, multiplication, all these will be expression. Anything that like a basic, like a statement or like a declaring a name, all these are the statement. Alright guys, so without the proper handling for your white space, so just now we talk about it, the white space is something that we can ignore it. Let's say if I ignore it, so big white gap, so there will be automatically JavaScript will correct it. If I save it, so there will be no error. So if you go back to your tab, so there will be no error. But if I'm not handling properly, so let's say I'm declaring a let call, so that will be start from 0, and then I want it a count to be +1. So let's say I'm adding more a value to it, so that will be count, and then I'm writing in 1 mathematics, so that will be expression +1. But now I can do that +1 or +1. I can put it a 2 big gap. So that will be if I save it, or instead without a plus in JavaScript counting, we have this so that will be plus. So when we loop and then we want to add one more a +1, so that will be we can use a plus. But for now, if I put it a big white gap, so inside the plus, if I save it, so go back to your console tab, now we're getting the error because we are keeping more white space. It's not necessary. So that's why it's important in JavaScript. So writing a proper syntax, so without the error. So make sure that you're using the no gap for double plus, and then also that will be count plus. If I save it, now back to your console tab, so it will be no error. So that's how we can handle white space in JavaScript, guys. So that will be today's topic set. I want to talk about it. For time purpose, I will stop the tutorials here. If you like the tutorial, if you learned something, give us a thumbs up and give us a comment, and also share it. And I hope to see you in next tutorial.